an eventful Friday we have had thus far. Good morning, everyone. We appreciate you joining us here for CBS 8 Plus Extended Forecast. I'm Evan Narani, leading you into the weekend with what will eventually be dry skies, but for now, not so much. A strong squall line, we call it, passed through overnight around 11 p.m. through about 2 a.m. It started along the coast, made its way east overnight, and it brought heavy rain, that downpour of rain at times. It brought plenty of wind and some thunder and lightning that woke plenty of people up overnight as well. So if you were one of those people that woke up in the middle of the night to some thunderstorms, you are not alone. We call it a squall line because it essentially was just a line of thunderstorms. You can kind of see a little bit of a less impactful one developing, but it's basically one of those outer bands of the storm that greets the coastline in a straight line of stormy weather, straight line of downpours of rain, of thunder and lightning, of gusts along our coastline around 55 miles per hour. Carlsbad came in at 55 miles per hour. That is incredible for our coastal communities to be in the 40 to 50 mile per hour range, but we saw it nonetheless. Now, as we head through the next couple hours, we're still watching for some isolated thunderstorms. Friday, today, is going to be a day of isolated thunderstorms and showers, and we already see those popping up. South of the 8 right now, there's the 8 freeway. You can see how we've got plenty of green that's popping up. First round of yellow and orange, meaning moderate to heavy downpours of rain embedded in there, moving north, and then the possibility of some thunderstorms as well, also moving north. So right now over the Baja California area, moving in our direction, and then we'll continue up around our inland valley toward the mountaintops by the time we get to about the noon hour. So this is just going to keep moving into the forecast area. We are by no means done with the wet weather. Here's a live look, or at least live as of 9 a.m. or so, where we watch as those storms start to make their way in. So this stormy weather is moving from south to north. You see how there are some cloud breaks in there that allow for a little bit of sun to peek through. And we saw that this morning. This morning there was the opportunity for the sun at times. There was cloud cover. There were a couple showers. But we're watching as that mixed bag of activity passes through over the course of the day today. Today, your Friday, much more isolated, much more of the residual activity as opposed to the core of the storm that came through last night. How much did that bring us? Here's a look at your rain totals. A lot of people are asking, how much did my city see? Well, take a look. Find your city on the map. 78 1/100ths, over 3/4 of an inch up around Fallbrook. Similar numbers for Carlsbad, for Oceanside, for Encinitas. You start to move south. We're closer to half an inch or so around Chula Vista, San Diego, Miramar, and then you make your way east. Palomar Mountain took the cake at 83 1/100ths of an inch. There was a measurement out at San Onofre that was over an inch. So it really is dependent on where you were centered and, of course, what time you were up. Because if you were asleep overnight and you didn't wake up from these thunderstorms, well, then you probably didn't see much happen, and you're probably wondering where all the stormy weather is. Mostly came through overnight. Now we're still dealing with some residual activity. You see how the leading edge of this storm, this trough of low pressure, brings all of that rain. That's what we saw last night. But now on the trailing end, we're watching as those showers come through. So that's still what we can expect throughout the day today, and then tapering off into tomorrow. Ridge of high pressure builds quickly behind it. This ridge is going to bring us dry skies for our Christmas Eve and Christmas Day. Celebration to, ensue because we have a lot of people who are trying to plan out their outdoor activities for Christmas Eve and Christmas Day. Don't worry, we're not going to be struck by those showers, thunder and lightning, strong wind gusts. Ridge of high pressure will keep us dry and will start to encourage a little bit of a warm up that we'll see into the beginning of next week. In the meantime, temperatures are a little bit cooler than average, mainly 60s on the screen. A high of 66 degrees in Oceanside this afternoon all the way down the coast of Chula Vista, 64 for Poway through La Mesa. These temperatures are cooler than normal, but this was not a particularly cold storm, and so it only cooled our temperatures down to about average, if not a few degrees shy of average. Again, did not even bring snow to the mountaintops. So while we call it a winter storm, a holiday storm per se, it really was not quite as impactful as those atmospheric rivers that we saw a year ago at this time. Want to time out the remainder of the storm for you. A lot of the showers that we see are still over the Pacific Ocean. So you can see how that is still taking place right now, not over land. However, we're watching as that cell moves from south to north over the Ramona area closer to about 1 p.m. Around 3, 4, 5 p.m. we start to see that activity taper off and mainly centered off toward the eastern half of the county, toward our deserts, toward our mountaintops. But you can see how we're not ruling out any spot on the map of getting this precipitation. There's still an opportunity countywide for an isolated shower or thunderstorm to pop up at times. And again, the remaining moisture that we have on hand, about 1/4 of an inch up to 1/2 an inch at times. This will likely bring our grand totals with this storm To about 1 inch. 1 inch is exactly what we expected as of yesterday, as of our latest measurements before the storm really kicked into high gear. I know if you stuck with us day to day, these numbers have been a little up and down, and that's because these types of storms that are just embedded thunderstorms of quick downpours of rain, sporadic, isolated, they're a lot harder to pin down than when we see just waves of moisture come through with maybe 1/10 of an inch per hour or so. That steady stream of moisture is much easier to forecast when you say, hey, we're getting 1/10 of an inch or so. It's going to happen every hour for 5 hours. You can measure that pretty properly. When we're talking isolated instability out there, which is what we have for last night into this morning and now for today, it's a lot more unpredictable. So we appreciate you bearing with us over the course of this forecast. As we get through Saturday, we'll start to dry out. When we get to Sunday, completely dry skies. Our chance of wet weather drops down to about 5%. Then as we get into Christmas Day, we hold on to the dry skies. Those last all the way through next week. Temperatures are going to warm up just a bit into the low 70s possibly. But Christmas Eve and Christmas Day, hey, get out and enjoy the sunshine that'll be beaming down on us. There's even the opportunity for some offshore winds to develop, meaning drier conditions and slightly warmer temperatures in that stretch. Mountains will be mainly in the 60s. Deserts have a lot of 60s, a couple low 70s out there. We're at least shifting away from this showery potential and moving toward dry skies all the way through the holiday bowl and through the majority of next week. People are already asking what's going to happen after Friday because we are gearing up for New Year's. It is way too far out to give you any certainty, any confidence as to what that will look like. We last year saw some strong showers that came through right around the New Year's time frame into New Year's Day. We'll talk in more detail next week about what to expect into that stretch of weather, but for now we're just dealing with the showers and thunderstorms that are going to come through today with some downdrafts of wind. That'll be over the course of your Friday, and then dry weather for the weekend. We hope you all have a wonderful and safe Christmas Eve and Christmas Day. We are going to, of course, be tracking this storm in its entirety, even these residual showers throughout the day. And we hope you all have a wonderful and safe weekend. We'll see you later.